What's up, guys? So today's video is going to be about Gus here. Gus has been having some problems and stuff lately, so I want to make a video talk about it because I've been kind of mentioning it here and there in messages and stuff, people asking how he's doing. So I want to get more information and wait until I knew a little bit more so I can explain a little bit better, right, Gus? But he's going to be alright. He's a trooper. So I'm actually going to bring him inside because it's a little hot out right now, and I'll be back and explain what's going on. Alright, I'm back. So, yes, Gus has been having some problems. And this has been going on for like about a year, kind of on and off. And how it started was he was overweight about this time last year. He weighed like 58 pounds. And although it's not like crazy, there's a lot of English Bulldogs that weigh 70 pounds, 75 pounds. I mean, he wasn't like really obese, but he was definitely overweight. And so when we brought him to a regular checkup to get his shots and stuff, the vet had said that we should lower his food intake just a little bit, just to knock off some pounds. So we did. He used to get like 2 cups a day, went down to 1 cup a day just for like maybe 3 or 4 weeks. Lost a couple pounds, everything seemed good. Went back to his regular diet and he was fine for a little while. Then he started getting these little spouts of diarrhea all the time. And if you're not familiar with English Bulldogs, they tend to have a lot of digestive issues, right? They're a little pickier, not pickier with what they eat, but their body is pickier with what they can digest. So certain foods, even certain dog foods and such, will give him diarrhea, give him an upset stomach and stuff. So like ever since I've had Gus, since he's been little, you know, I've gone through all different foods to find out what works for him, and something would work for him for a really long time, then all of a sudden get a little diarrhea, maybe try something else. So it's kind of used to that. It wasn't a big deal for him to have the squirts for like a week or so. So what happened was he had the squirts. I thought, all right, you know, it's definitely inconvenient. It's tough on him. Obviously, if you have diarrhea, you probably don't feel good. That's the problem with dogs, is they can't tell you what's going on. You know, they can only tell you by their actions. But he's always acted fine. He never acted sick. You know, and that was the hardest part. I thought, all right, well, he's got a stomach bug. He's sick or something. It was a normal food he's been eating for like 2 years. We used to give him Canada food, very highly rated food. The main ingredient, I believe, was salmon. You know, he was totally fine on that for like probably 3 or 4 years. So the diarrhea came back. It kept coming back. So we gave him these, you know, different chicken and rice diets, which would basically, you know, firm up all of his stool, but they still get, you know, a lot of nutrients. You can't do that for long term, you know, because the dog food has certain proteins and different nutrients and vitamins and such that they need for a balanced diet, right? So it can't just be rice and chicken. We did that for a little bit. Of course, it worked. His stool totally hardened up and everything was fine, no more diarrhea. But he kept losing weight, and we didn't really know why. And remember, he started out at 58 pounds. Like maybe 6 months later, he was around 50 pounds, you know, which was fine. Now he's perfectly healthy. 50 to 55 is like ideal. Most English Bulldogs are heavily overweight, and it makes it even harder for their health. They're hypercephalic dogs, which means they have a hard time breathing. He's got a big old tongue, short snout, so he's already huffing and puffing all the time. But when you get these dogs that are even more overweight, it's even more of a problem. You know, they snore really loud because they're having a hard time breathing and you know, so forth, all kinds of problems. But so like at 50 pounds, he was perfect. Everything was grand. No issues, no health issues. He was totally fine, acting fine, healthy doggy. And all of a sudden, you know, over the next like 2 months, I want to say this started like around Christmas or so, he would just have little intermittent spurts of diarrhea all the time, and we didn't know what it was. You know, his diet was the same as normal. We didn't change anything. We haven't given him any kind of scraps, no table food at all. In the past, when I did give him table food, there are certain things you couldn't give a dog, or at least most breeds, that is totally fine for them. Certain meats with no sauces or anything, you know, like plain chicken or plain steak. If I'm eating a steak and I have nothing on it or whatever, I'll give him a tiny little piece, you know, pre-chew it, because he doesn't chew food very much. He swallows it, so anything I gave him, I had to kind of like chew myself first to get it, you know, mushy, so he wouldn't choke on it. But yeah, I mean, any table scraps he ever got was healthy food, you know, or food that I know that he was allowed to have. But yeah, he just started getting these spurts of diarrhea, and he started losing more weight, and just little by little, he looked sick to me. Now, you saw him in the beginning of this video. He's nice and skinny. If you just looked at him like a normal dog, he would look perfect. He didn't look fat anymore. He was just all muscle. However, for his breed, and because I've always known him to be bigger, he looks too skinny. So I was very concerned. So I started going to the vet. What's going on? He's losing too much weight. He has diarrhea too much. Something is up. You know, it's not normal. He just have a stomach bug. This is lasting too long. So that's when we started all the testing, all the blood work, and he went in for a CAT scan. like 2 weeks ago, and that's when the doctor confirmed that he had a very swollen intestine, like abnormally swollen. And I forget what it's called actually. I think I have it on my phone. And they're still doing testing. Nothing is 100% accurate yet. But what she believes it is IBD, which is inflammatory bowel disease. All right, very common in bulldogs, English bulldogs, French bulldogs. And basically, because they are sensitive with their digestion, things can happen like that, where their bowel gets swollen or intestines get swollen. The first thing that the vet thought was going on was his numbers are very low in his, what was it, not his pancreas, not his kidneys. I can't remember now, but one of his organs, she was very concerned, his liver. They were worried about the numbers in his liver. His B12 was low. And so she did additional tests. This is after she found out that he had the swollen intestine. So the first thing they did was they gave him some meds. Very, very common. This is prednisone, which is, I think it's a steroid, or it's an anti-inflammatory. So this he gets every day. And that's to bring the swelling down on his intestine. But the problem was when a couple days ago I found out his blood work came back specifically for the B12, and it was very low. And the problem with the dogs having low B12 is that he can't absorb any of the food. So again, his weight loss, which by the way, right now he weighs 40 pounds. And 40 pounds, if you never had a bulldog and you looked at him, you say, yeah, he looks healthy, he looks happy, he acts totally normal. And that's thank God he's acting normal, he's not acting sick, but he's too underweight. He's too small. He's not quite emaciated, thank God, you know. But like if he sits in certain positions, you can kind of see his spine a little bit, you know, his rib cage pokes through a little bit. He's just too small. He's too skinny. We got to put weight back on him. But the problem is because of his swollen intestine and the low B12 levels, for the last few months, no food has ever really, well, some of it has, but the majority of his food hasn't digested. And he's been acting a little bit weirder in that he's always hungry. He's just always hungry. Now, he's an English bulldog. He always wants food, but he wouldn't always beg for it. And like lately, he's just been begging for food. It seems like, you know, whatever we give him, he's just not satisfied. So come to find out that the food was just basically going through him. That's why it was turning diarrhea. It had a foul smell. His farts were, I mean, he always farted a lot, but they smelled like farts. These farts smelled like toxic waste. It was pretty raunchy. That's where I knew something was up, and that's when we brought him to the vet. And thank God we got it in time to start working on, you know, fixing these problems. The problem with the his digestive issue is the vet basically was saying that it's going to be a diet change pretty much for the rest of his life. She gave me a new food, which is this. I want to say Royal Canin. It looks like it might be canine, but there's specifically no E, so I think it's Royal Canin. But this is hydrolyzed protein, adult HP formula. And basically, this has a protein, I think it's a soy protein, that's much smaller molecularly, so it basically can be absorbed. With his current issue, all the food he was eating was coming in, it was getting mushed up, and it was going out. He was not absorbing any of that stuff, so that's why he was losing weight. He also got a little bit, like he used to always jump in the car totally fine. Now he can't jump in the car as easy. I could tell he has a little bit of problem, so with the weight loss, it wasn't just fat, he lost some muscle too. So, long story short, with some medicine and very expensive, this is probably the most expensive dog food I've ever seen. This bag was like 40 bucks. I just ordered him a larger bag. The biggest bag I think is 23 or 24 pound bag. This one is a 7.5 pound bag. It was like 100 bucks, $90 I think, and that'll last him almost a month. You know, so almost 100 bucks a month for dog food. That is pretty expensive, but I'm pretty sure this is the only food he can eat for a very long time and maybe the rest of his life. No table scraps, very strictly diet on this. And that again is so that he can absorb all the proper nutrients and the proper protein that he needs. Now with the B12, that's the other issue, is with the lack of B12 or the low levels of B12 in his system, even having this food, he still is not absorbing anything. He can't gain weight without the proper amount of B12. So when I was first heard this, which by the way, the veterinarian was amazing. She was talking to me through emails, personal time, like home. She's out of work, her work day's over. She went out of her way to have conversations and let me know what's going on when she got test results and stuff. So kudos to her for just being a really good vet and just really caring about Gus and all the animals she deals with. But how she explained it was he needs these B12 injections. Now, my immediate thought was, well, you know, you can get B12 at the pharmacy super cheap. Why can't I just give him some pills? Come to find out, because of his lack of absorbing anything, if I gave him B12 pills or anything orally, because B12 comes in liquid form and stuff, you would never know how much he's actually absorbing. So the most efficient way to give a dog B12 is injections. So he has to go for an injection every single week. Tomorrow's his first appointment for that. And he has to do that for 6 weeks straight, every week. And then after that, I think it's every other week, and then maybe once a month, until those levels have to get retested again and make sure all those levels come back up. Because once he gets the B12 in his system, then this formula should help him start to gain weight. It's going to be a long, slow process, but I'm glad, you know, I did the testing that I had to do. I mean, it's very, very expensive owning animals, period. Doesn't matter what kind of animal. You know, there's a lot of pet owners. Well, I guess it's just like parents. There's a lot of parents. Some parents are good. Some parents aren't that good. Regardless of whether you have the money to do certain things, sometimes you just have to do it. You know, you have to put it on credit. You have to get it done. Gus is my baby. He is my child to me. You know, my fur baby. I guess that's what people say, right? He's the world to me, and I want to do anything possible to make sure that he is happy and healthy. Now, like I said, he's been acting totally fine, but you know, he's been sucking it up. I know he's had gas. I mean, finding all this information out later, he's been bloated because the stomach is not digesting everything, and so he's probably been very uncomfortable for a pretty long time now, and I just didn't even know it. It breaks my heart just to think that, you know. But whenever your dog, cat, bird, whatever you have pets, if they're showing any signs of anything being different, you got to go and get it checked out. If I didn't get this checked out, then I would never have known, and he literally would have had more and more problems, and that would be it for him. So I'm happy I went, and I'm just going to do everything I can for him. You know, like I said, luckily he's acting normal, he's still happy, he still plays, you know, he still has a normal appetite, still drinking water fine, all that kind of stuff. But I mean, this is just an update for anyone who I was talking to it about. I mean, a lot of people watch the videos, they like Gus, and they want to know what's going on with him. And yeah, I mean, he's lost weight, and even though he looks pretty svelte and, you know, pretty good looking, he's not healthy. He has to gain 10 more pounds. 10 pounds on him, he'll be where he needs to be. Obviously, we get the swelling down in his intestines, and that's pretty much it. I mean, he's going to have a very strict diet for the rest of his life, you know, so that he can live as long and as happy as he could possibly be. And it's going to kill me because I love, you know, he's my dog, and how do you make dogs happy? You give him treats. You know, you play with him and you give him treats. And I can't give him like a piece of steak or a piece of chicken anymore. I just can't. But this company does make treats, dog treats, with the same ingredients pretty much, just in a treat form, so at least I can do that. And they also make a wet version, so like special occasions or just to change it up every now and then, I can give him a wet version of this food. But that's pretty much it. That's the only 3 things he's eating for the rest of his life: this dry, this wet, and this in treat form. You know, I want him to be happy. He's my baby, and right now he is, and we're gonna get him fixed up, you know. But the whole experience is just, it's a reminder that everything has an ending, and I don't even want to begin to talk about when Gus goes, because I'm gonna start tearing up just thinking about it. But it's gonna happen, you know. I'm gonna outlive him, and I'm gonna have to deal with that when that time comes. I know a lot of you guys watching have dealt with many pets that passed. It's never easy. You know, it's like people. It's the same thing. But for some reason, sometimes people get even more emotional about pets dying than family members. You know, it's not that you don't love your family members. It's just, I don't know. There's a special bond we have with pets, and it's almost like pets, children, and seniors. When they all have problems, it's like, I don't know. They're more defenseless. You know, when you're super old, super young, or an animal, it's almost like it's sadder when something happens, you know, because they are more, I don't know, defenseless, I guess, is the best way I could describe it. But yeah, I mean, every pet has its end. Every one of us has our end, and we don't want to think about it because it's pretty depressing. But like I said, I'll have to deal with that one day. I want him to have the best life he can have, you know. So I'm practical. I realize that, you know, he's not going to live forever. It's just really hard. And recently, you know, with my family's cat passing, it's just very hard. That's it. There's nothing, no way I can describe it unless you've gone through it yourself. A lot of you guys have. I'm sure you've had pets, and occasionally I've seen comments talk about it, like, oh, my dog passed away, oh, my cat passed away, and it always breaks my heart because I know how that feels. I know it personally. You know, Gus he's my first and only dog that's been mine. You know, I got Gus when I moved out on my own. I've had family dogs that passed away. It was extremely, extremely sad. Cody, I love Cody. He was my family's Lhasa Apso. And when he died, I mean, he was the best dog in the world, and it killed me. It broke my heart, you know. But you have to deal with these realities, and all I can say is just, you know, love your pets. Don't forget about them, and just you know, make them as happy as you possibly can, and as healthy as you possibly can. It's just really tough, and I know specifically, like the vet's office and the nurses that are there and stuff. They deal with a lot of people that have pets that the pets need certain things. They need certain medical attention. They need certain, you know, prescriptions and so forth. And a lot of people don't have money for it. You know, a lot of people have pets that just really can't afford them, and it's heartbreaking. You know, because these pets, they don't get the same treatment as they should. Just like people, it's no different. There's the poor person that has the medical condition, and they're not getting the treatment that they need. You know, and that's sad, but it's a harsh reality of life. You know. So anyway, long story short, Gus is going through some troubles, but hopefully we got it under control. And my biggest message is to get your pets checked out. If they're acting funny or something's different, just get it looked at, because a lot of things can you know, be resolved if you catch it early on enough. Same with people. You know, if you catch things in the early stages of problems, a lot of times you can help it. But if you wait too long, sometimes it's just too late. So thanks a lot for watching, guys. I appreciate all the support. I know a lot of you guys like Gus. A lot of you guys like Gus more than you like me. And I'm totally cool with that. Gus is the man. But I stay positive. That's all you can do. You know, stay positive. Do everything you can. Educate yourself and help him the best you can. So I think he's going to be okay. I will definitely give you guys an update. I don't know when, maybe a month or two, once I know more, and once, you know, all this stuff's going through his system, and hopefully he starts gaining some weight back, and I'll give you an update. So stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, thank you very much. Now go love your pets. I'll see you guys soon. Take care.